Hey, what's up, guys? This recap's a little late, but it's gonna be about Strikeforce, Barnett versus Kharitonov. Uh, Basically, this fight went okay, or this card went okay for me. It started out really good. I got the first 6 fights right. First fight on the main card was Pat Healy, Maximo Blanco. I like Maximo Blanco. Think he's gonna be a pretty good fighter in the future if he improves a little bit more. But I was betting on Pat Healy grinding out the match. Maximo won the first round. I remember him dropping Pat Healy. And then, kind of near the end, I think Pat Healy had his back for like last 15 seconds of the fight. Didn't really sink the hooks in. He was just like punching him a little bit. Didn't do much. And then in the second round, it was a little closer. Pat Healy was starting to get off a little bit more. And then he ended up catching him in like, kind of like, at first it looked like a crucifix, or he had like an arm trapped and ended up rear naked choking him. It was a pretty good fight. Pat Healy, he's doing a lot better at lightweight than he did at welterweight. He's beaten some good fighters. He submitted Carlos Condit, Dan Hardy, Paul Daly, but that was way back when. He's beaten good fighters. It's just he could never really get a good streak going until recently. And then the next fight was King Mo against Roger Gracie. I put my money on Roger winning, being able to get it to the ground, but I also said that King Mo had a big chance. Originally, I was going with King Mo, but I ended up changing my mind when I thought it through a little bit more. King Mo proved me wrong. Roger was too timid. I think he was probably winning the first round until King Mo caught him with a big right hand, dropped him, and then what it looked like is he barely hit him on the ground with a second shot after he dropped him, and Roger just completely went stiff. It looked like his body completely locked up. Knocked him out. I feel like this happens so much with Gracie's. They get a good start and then just one bad loss and they don't have a good career after that. They all tend to get knocked out a lot. I feel like the Gracies just don't have good chins. Yeah, and then the next fight was a big disappointment to me. I'm pretty sure everyone was betting on Jacare Souza winning this fight. I honestly, in my opinion, thought he did win this fight. I had him winning rounds 1, 2, 4, and possibly even 5. One judge actually gave it 50-45 to Luke Rockhold. The second they said 50-45 when they were scoring the fight, I was like, oh yeah, Jacare definitely won this fight. Ended up going to Luke Rockhold. I thought that was stupid. I should probably watch the fight again. Maybe I'll see it differently. Luke Rockhold doing really well, even though he hadn't fought in over 19 months, and he had never been out of the first round. He fought really well. I feel like it wasn't just Rockhold fighting well. I felt like it was partly Jacare fighting badly. There's some people saying who he purposely blew the fight just so he could possibly get a UFC fight, or so he wouldn't have the pressure of having the belt, because it wasn't the real one, like the UFC belt. But I think he just fought bad. I wanted to see the rematch of him and Tim Kennedy after this, but now it's probably gonna be Rockhold fighting Kennedy. I want to see. I'm probably gonna see Kennedy beating Rockhold, and then possibly a rematch between him and Souza. Just pissed me off that he lost. This is kind of where my predictions started going bad. Ended up getting 3 wrong in a row after having first 6 right. Next fight was Daniel Cormier versus Antonio Silva. Silva was the big favorite, and then Daniel Cormier ended up actually knocking him out, which surprised everyone. I actually said that I thought Daniel Cormier had a chance. A lot of people didn't give him a chance whatsoever in this fight. He did great. He stopped Silva's takedowns because he's an Olympic wrestler. I knew from the second that Silva got dropped within the first 30 seconds that it was going to be over. Daniel Cormier's striking looked a lot better, knocked Silva out cold. Antonio Silva comes from having the biggest win of his career to a bad loss. Now Cormier is going to the finals, and I can honestly say I'm jumping on the Cormier bandwagon. I'm a Cormier fan now. I think he's a good fighter. He's the ultimate underdog, just like Luke Rockhold was. Uh, Great fight. That's all I can say. Next fight, Sergey Kharitonov versus Josh Barnett. Went the way I saw it going. Sergey was actually hitting him with some really good shots at first. I thought he hurt Josh a little bit, and then Josh, got the body lock, and then like he took him down straight into the mount. Basically, just held him there, hit him, kept hitting him, and then when Sergey turned his back a little, and then when he was turning back, Josh Barnett caught the arm triangle and ended up tapping him out pretty fast. And then that's basically the story of the fight. I think this makes a pretty interesting finals matchup because, Antonio Silva versus Josh Barnett didn't really interest me that much. It's like, whoa, I just watched this whole tournament and this is the fight I get. But now that Cormier's fighting Barnett in the finals, it's a lot more interesting matchup. The question is, can Barnett take Cormier down? Because he's obviously got the better submission skills on the ground. But Cormier is an Olympic wrestler, and a lot of people are saying, he can stop the takedowns of Josh Barnett, and he's got more power and he's a better striker from what we see. And Josh Barnett is no Cain Velasquez. Neither was Antonio Silva. That's what Cormier said. It's an interesting matchup. Can't wait to see it. It's probably going to take place next year, though. Next big Strikeforce event isn't for like another 2 or 3 months, which is it just shows that Strikeforce is falling apart one by one. Their fighters are gone. Kong Lee's fighting Vitor. Seriously, who's next to go from Strikeforce to the UFC? They're losing all their guys one by one. Thank you for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. Whatever you want. Thank you.